Hi, I'm Mark. Welcome back to Foothill Paint Fabrication. Well, like the title says, now what? We got Ruby stripped down to bare steel. She looks beautiful, but where do we go from here? So I've walked around the car, spent quite a bit of time walking around the car thinking about stuff and looking for problem spots. So I put a little piece of blue tape wherever I found something, and I just stuck another one on a few minutes ago when I found something else. So they're going to keep popping up. Most of it's not a huge surprise, but the front fenders did kind of give me quite a bit of big surprise. So we'll talk about that when we get to them. Let me grab the camera and let's take a close-up look at Ruby and how she looks. Okay guys, let's just start with the interior. We've got some holes in the floor pan right here. I think there's one or two over there, and we got one over here, but it looks really good. We got a hole over here that doesn't belong. See that light coming through right over there? So we'll have to do a little patch there. But all in all, it looks fantastic. So the floor pan is really great shape, of course, except where it's got the big bump right there, and where somebody took a big hammer and beat the firewall so headers would fit. But other than that, we'll be able to patch these really easily, and it'll be just as good as brand new. So the floor pan is in great shape. Now the firewall, we're going to probably section out part of this and redo it anyways, because obviously we're not going to have the heater box there and all these other holes. Most of them won't be used, but it's in really good shape. So we'll be talking about how to do what we're going to do up on there. Along here, which I was pretty concerned about, I was afraid that was going to be rusted out. I poked that with a small screwdriver all over, and as you can tell, it's got some pitting, but it's structurally sound. So all we really need to do is kind of just clean that up really well and make sure those pitted areas are smoothed out really nice, so when we lay that direct-to-metal primer in there, it doesn't bridge over a pit or anything. So we want to smooth those out really good. But as far as that, the whole area, I think it looks great all the way around. We're in the same condition. Now the top is pristine. I don't see any waves or dents in it. Now they did drill a hole right up in here to let the air out when they were dipping it, so make sure the chemicals get up under the underside really well. So that looks really good. You may see some debris up there. I was digging out what was left of the drip check down inside the little rain gutter right there. So it kind of flew everywhere when I was doing that, but I got it all cleaned out. I couldn't seem to get it out before it was dipped. I wish I could have, so it could have got down in there better, but it all looks pretty good. Now the doors, no really big surprises on the doors. It is what we thought they were going to be. I knew the dent was in that one with the holes in it. So they look really good. There was some repairs up here but this line is really good, but obviously this door got kinked right here. So there's some work that was done right here. We'll worry about that. I'm kind of thinking we're going to be okay on that. I just saw this corner's turned under right there, but all in all, it looks pretty good. I don't want to touch the bare steel with my hands. I got to make sure I don't do that. This quarter panel over here looks really good. I've been sighting down it, looking for waves and stuff. It looks really good, except for the hole, that we already know about right over here. So we'll have to fix that. Sail panel's fine. The leading looks good. Up in here looks really good for the window. All that rust that was down inside here has been taken care of, and that sail panel over there is in great shape. That's the one we just put on. And the trunk lid just looks perfect. I don't think there's a thing wrong with it anywhere. Of course, there could be little waves, little dings in it, but as far as major damage, nothing. Now, the quarter panel does have a few on this side. It has a little dinger right here on the lip. And then we've got a dent right here, which I already knew about. That's easy to take out, no problem. And then back here, we've got quite a few rust holes like we talked about earlier. So I'm probably gonna have to section that out. I do have pieces off the old car. I don't know what condition they're in, but we can buy those or make those pieces. So that shouldn't be that big a deal. Now there's a couple of dents that I'm pretty sure happened when it was getting dipped. There's 2 dents pushing out from the inside of the trunk that were not there before. You know, it's tough to handle those cars, so I'm not blaming Bo and those guys, but I'm sure those weren't there before. We'll fix those no problem. And then, of course, we got some more rust over here. You can see the chunk missing here and there, and this piece is pretty bad over here. So I was, you know, worried about that in the first place. So it's not the end of the world. We can fix it, no big deal. This quarter panel, of course, we had some dents in it before we even started putting it on the car. I hammered most of them out, but it was just too hard to get them perfect or close to perfect without it being on the car and give me, you know, something holding the fender really well. But as you can see down there, it is pretty straight. So I'm pretty happy with it. We can certainly make it better, and then, you know, then we'll do a lot of longboarding and getting it perfect. So the rest of the quarter panel looks really good. Really happy with that. The trunk, let me go ahead and prop that open real quick and we'll take a look inside the trunk. Okay, I actually attached the trunk to the hinges because these GMA bodies have torsion bars that run across here to help you raise and lower the trunk lid. I'm getting rid of those and I'm putting gas shocks, gas struts. And I had to put the trunk lid on and get a board across there with some blocks and a scale and lower it down about halfway to figure out how strong of gas struts I needed. Turns out I need a total combined 234 pound strength, so about 117 pound gas struts for each side. So I've got some on order, and we will be converting this from torsion bar to gas struts in a future video. But all in all, up underneath here, you guys can see there's a little bit of echo. Obviously, we've got a lot of bare steel. But up inside, like we saw earlier, it is just looking fantastic. No rust holes. You know, we made that hole there. But it looks good everywhere. And we could see some light coming through, you know, because we dug all the seam sealer out, and they used to just pile that stuff in. The stuff down in that corner there, that's not seam sealer. That's some sort of weld. So I'm obviously going to clean that up. But everywhere else, it looks really good. Really happy. The trunk is not rusted out at all. This is where the spare tire sits. So we were actually going to take this hump out and the thing, you know, for the jack and all this other stuff. So I'll probably section a piece out of the old car from this side and weld it in over here so that's nice and flat so we don't have that big bump. We'll see. We're going to figure all that out. But it looks really good all along here. Nothing scary, no big rust spots down inside the weather strip channel looks great. Of course, this is the quarter panel we just put on. So all that looks great, and it looks really good up inside the trunk where it was just rusty and nasty up inside there. So pretty happy with the way that came out. Now all the small pieces, no surprises there. The windshield wiper cowl, that looks like it's basically ready to spray. There's the glove box, here's the A-pillar covers. Now they need a little bit of repair and then we can get those sprayed as well. And that's going to be the plan. Maybe the trunk lid, get it kind of prepped up and get it sprayed with DTM to protect it and then just set it aside. And then some of these small pieces we can do the same thing. Of course the nose piece needs a lot more work because it's got all these holes in it and still dense, but that's a nice little project to bust out, and then we can get some DTM sprayed on that, protect it, set it aside. Now, the doors. You guys saw the doors. I'm pretty sure I'm just going to do repairs on the doors and not try to skin it, but we'll figure that out as we go. The one thing I'm on the fence about are these fenders. Now, I can get new fenders for about $700. The repops, and I really didn't want a lot of repop sheet metal on this car. I'd rather use factory steel because it's better. It's thicker, it's stronger, the body lines are nicer, everything's better. But we've got rusted and cracked right here. We got a dent right here. That's really not that big a deal. But we've got some major problems here, and I had no idea this was here. So this one isn't so bad. I mean, that right there, that gray stuff, that's body filler that was packed in the braces underneath. That was just packed in there. I had no idea it was there. This, I didn't have any idea was there either. And this is the part that concerns me the most as it creeps out and gets right to the edge of the fender here. And that there's a brace back behind there, so it makes it very hard to work on. We've got some rusting here. It's not that big a deal. But this right here has got me concerned. And then we've got some other small dents. Now this fender has its own problems. Now let's go look at the other fender. Now this fender, a tree limb broke off a very big tree limb. It was about 6 or 8 inches in diameter, and it hit the structure that the car was parked under, broke the rafters, and they swung down and hit the car. So it's got severe damage right here, and there's a brace that runs underneath, so it's very hard to get to, and that's right on the body line where the hood closes. And that is kinked and creased over there, and I can't get to it from the backside to hammer that back out. So that's a tough little dent to get out. Here is some more damage from the rafter coming down and the tree limb hitting the car. And then when we go around the other side, we've got another tear and rust spot right here, more rust through right here. And on both fenders, they've been hacked up right here. You see this right here? That's not supposed to look like that. It's supposed to look like that all the way across, you know, this lip. And I didn't really know that was there because the inner fender wheel was in there, and I really never stripped the car down that much. So then we've got the similar rusting right here, and of course all the bullet holes right here from the slide hammer. So and there's another one up here. So can I fix these fenders? Absolutely. In fact, I have 2 old fenders off the other car, and I would use them, except that car I put a tilt front end on it, and the fenders are actually cut off right about here. Now I have both pieces, and the fender's actually in better shape than these, but I would have to try to weld those back together, reconstruct the brace, and do some other stuff, and I really don't want to go down that path either. But I can use parts off of those fenders to repair these 2 fenders. It doesn't come down to can I do it, it's a matter of time. Do I want to spend so much time on these 2 fenders, or do I just want to order a new pair and put them on the car and keep this project going? So that's my dilemma on that, but I don't know which way I want to go, but I'm going to sleep on it a couple of times and we'll figure out if we're going to pull the trigger and get some repop fenders. Okay guys, you saw Ruby inside and out, and she looks fantastic, and I am not complaining one little bit about the fenders or any other rust. You know, I was expecting some. Obviously it'd be great if there was no problems at all, but you know, the cars are really old and I left it sitting out for a very long time, so most of it's on me. Now, where do we go from here? Now, as you guys saw in the previous video when I did the testing on the Gibbs brand, we are not going to wipe the car down with anything. I am not going to spray the whole thing with DTM and then grind that off to make my repairs. We're going to leave it in bare steel. Now, there are some parts, like we talked about the trunk lid, some other parts, so I'm going to selectively start prepping parts and spraying them with DTM and set them aside. Now, it'd be silly not to do that, just leave them in bare steel. That's just, you know, kind of stupid. So the ones we can get done, we're going to get done as soon as possible. And the other parts that need repair, we're going to get those repaired. And the way it'll work, let's say I do this quarter panel right here and get it all sweetened up, the sheet metal work and everything inside and out. And then we can spray it with DTM. We don't have to spray the whole car at once. We can do a chunk at a time. Now, the inside of the car is going to get DTM as well. I picked up a lower quality DTM to spray all up inside there, and that's what I'm going to do. But I don't want to spray it until I get all my sheet metal work done or all my other stuff done, right? I've got welding to do up in there. I've got some other stuff I want to modify, so I want to get that done and do it all at once. Now, when I do that, I am going to roll it, spray it, pour it. I'm going to, you know, the factory dips new cars. They dip, it comes through a conveyor, dips in a big vat of sealer, and comes out the other side and drips dry, and off they go, right? I can't do that, obviously. So I am going to crawl up inside here, and I am going to protect every piece I can get to with spraying, rolling, pouring. Where the pinch welds come together down to the bottom of these rockers, I'm going to pour DTM in there and brush it down inside there and hopefully get it down inside that pinch weld, even if it drips out on the ground. I don't care. I'll clean it up later. That's what the plan is. I want this car protected way better than it was from the factory, and so it lasts for a lifetime. I'm going to drive it till I get too old to push in a clutch. Then we'll sell it, or if I pass away, I'll leave it to my son. He can sell it, and somebody else can enjoy it for their lifetime too. But that's the plan on this car, is to protect it the best we can. And we'll move piece by piece on this thing, and that's just the way we're going to inch our way around it. We won't be wiping it down with anything. We won't be trying to protect the bare steel. I did buy a cheap car cover. That will go on it. But other than that, that's what we're going to do. So, you know, we just need to get started on it. So I got to start, you know, doing a schedule, start figuring out what we're going to do. I got to buy a lot of parts, and I got to buy a lot of supplies. So that'll be my next step. Sit down at the computer, spending a bunch of money. So thanks for joining me here at Foothill Paint Fabrication. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Mash that bell. Drop me a comment. I'd love to hear from you guys. Let me know what you guys are working on. Let me know what you think of Ruby. We'll see you on the next one.